Kelly is business as usual. Can Lex Luthor be helpful? Kara looks like she just robbed a bank. Graceful arcs across her brow. I'm left forever to wonder how. Brevity is the soul of wit, as Polonius said to Hamlet. This episode was really starting to bug me. We are talking Supergirl Season 4, Episode 3, Blurred Lines. The AfterBuzz After Show starts right now.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
That's right, we're back with some Supergirl talk. We are talking Season 5, Episode 3, Blurred Lines. Is it the song? Is it not? A lot of lines were across this episode. Supergirl up and away. She's flying all around. I felt like her outfit wasn't as great as usual, but of course we'll get to all that and more as we break down this week's episode. We're going to discuss Lena using her new super best friend. Jon Jonnz uses his super best friend Nia Null. Malefic, I like calling him Maleficent, is maladjusted. Why use that name anyway? Kelly is a lifesaver. Spider tattoos. Yes, we had an Aurafacian on the episode this week. Sorry, I'm not home right now. Jimmy is caught up in a spider web. We're going to talk about Jimmy and his life-altering, changing decisions. Hope. Yeah, hope brings us hope. Brainy and Nia. Wow, what's going on there? Valentine's Day is so far away, and yet it is here to stay. I rhymed that for you, Brainy. Nothing makes us feel better than a vignette. Special segment, Supergirls, where we highlight a woman making a difference in the world today. News and gossip, you're going to want to stay tuned, and some predictions and much, much more. If you don't know who I am Tehran. I will be hosting and paneling. And of course, I'm joined by the Dream Team friend, the Just Us League. My man Ryan is in the booth.
What's going on, y'all? So excited to talk Supergirl. We were talking Watchmen earlier, and now we're up and away to another CW show.
That's right. CW with all the wonderful DC. DC, of course, taking over right now. We have the Titans After Show that we do. We have the HBO's Watchmen show. And, of course, CW has a whole slew of DC shows
Flash,
that are just amazing. Flash, Arrow, Batwoman
also live right now.
Batwoman also live. What else is on CW that's going off right now? That's
Dynasty, right?
No, I'm talking about comic book shows.
Of course.
Yes, I do. Listen, you're not going to shame me for liking Dynasty, Ryan. I watch and talk Dynasty. You can catch me on a slew of AfterBuzz after shows, and I do not discriminate.
Yes, no, you do not.
If it's good, it's good, no matter what.
Black Lightning.
Okay.
Anyway.
Let's talk what's going on in this episode, my overall thoughts on Episode 3, Season 5, Blurred Lines, Supergirl. My overall thought was this episode was actually a very good episode. I enjoyed it because it was to the storyline. We're getting a lot more in depth with what's going on with Jon Jonnz. That whole brother line, which they're clearly making as the main plot of this first part of the story arc, is going to be focused on Martian lore, Martian interaction, Jon Jonnz, his brother Malefic, who I cannot stop calling Maleficent as the movie just came out. So Malefic is clearly the antagonist, but there seems to be much more to that storyline. We keep getting nods and tidbits, but nothing concrete. I can't wait to figure out what more is going to happen with the Martian Manhunter. We're also getting some, I don't know because I'm not sure which side of the coin he falls, if this is a good guy or bad guy, but my main man Stas, who is William Dey, is playing, it's almost as if he's super shady, but he's not. We're trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. He has a special mission that's bigger than we know. We keep getting these nods to how great an investigative journalist he is, and a reporter and a researcher, and yet he seems to be on the side of error. I'm not exactly sure, but it's definitely grabbing my attention. I want more there. This relationship between Nia Null and Brainy, which we all were shipping, honestly, we're all wanting them. We don't want them to break up. We just want them to be normal. Yes, is it comic relief? Yes, but can we see how annoying it must be for Nia? And at this point, it feels like torture. And finally, Kelly and Alex always wanting to protect Kelly, and Kelly just being the door opening to all these things. All this is encompassed in the umbrella that I think will play the biggest part, which is Kara and Lena. Lena has become a Luthor after all. Yes, she's Lex's half-sister. Yes, she's Lex's sister. Yes, she has LexCorp. Yes, but before then, she's always been someone we've felt we have been misjudging simply because of her last name. She's proven time and time again how good a person she is. However, in this season, it seems that she is on the side of, and I want to use the term villain, but it's not exactly villainous because it comes with good intent. Typically, the villain has a malintent, a hidden agenda. It's an agenda that's greed or selfishness. However, Lena's agenda is not greed or selfishness. It's actually to rid the world of lying, manipulation, and violence. She doesn't want a world of robots, as Hope points out. She wants a world of better people. This sounds great, except she wants to do it through mind control, which we all know is a bad idea. Ryan tried that once. It didn't work out.
Nope. I still think I work somewhere else.
Exactly.
BuzzFeed.
That's how it works. So here we get into a lot of these main points. Let's talk about Lena and Lena using her new super best friend. Lena uses Kara. She manipulates Kara into retrieving those journals, the Lex journals for her, the journals that are locked up in Fort Summit under lock and key, because Lex, of course, was world's most wanted #1. He was public enemy #1. Lex Luthor tries to destroy the world every other day. His journals contain these Q-wave theories and deciphers that she needs to finish off her brain control, mind control technology. So what she does is, of course, she convinces Lena. And Lena convinces Kara. Kara's feeling guilty. Kara's feeling guilty about lying to Lena for so long. She's been lying to Lena about the Supergirl identity, which to me, I still am not on board with it being a lie. She was protecting her secret identity from the people around her, even though technically speaking, Lena was the only one that didn't know. I can understand that. She wanted to compartmentalize her life. This is my Supergirl life. This is my regular everyday life. She didn't want to confuse the two. Lena's taking it so hard that she's willing to rid the world of free thought, basically. So we get Lena doing the Luthor thing, manipulating Kara, knowing that she's feeling guilty, seeing that Kara was willing to fly to Dublin and Paris and all over the world to bring her things and trinkets that she likes. She uses this. She plans it with Hope, where she says, oh, I'm going to get Supergirl to do it. It's not impossible. Supergirl can do it. And of course, Supergirl does it. She plants that idea. In this season, and especially in these episodes, we keep getting these nods to the concept of inception, planting an idea in someone else's mind and making it seem like it's their own. Now, inception is the form of Malefic, is, of course, mind control. He simply just controls people's minds, which, by the way, it can't be a coincidence that Malefic has the one power that Lena is looking for. That cannot be a coincidence. Lena wants to control people's minds with Q-waves. Q-waves are on the board because, of course, we have the Obsidian device, and we have the company who's creating this and implanting ideas in the technology in people's minds. And then we have Malefic, who is able to control people's minds. I'm not sure if this is one big coincidence, because honestly, if it is, that's crazy. If you're telling me that there's no reason that Andrea Rojas just magically appears with this technology and we're not going to link this together by the end of the season, you're crazy. So that's where I'm seeing all that going. I'm sure a lot of you see the same thing. Also, we see Lena being... Here she's replaced Supergirl Kara with Hope. Hope is the artificial creation she has created out of Tessmacher. So she has this best friend who is now just a robot, who is mimicking emotion, I would say, trying her best. Lena says she doesn't trust people. She used to because she had friends, meaning Kara, and then Kara betrayed her trust. So now she has Hope, and Hope is trying to be her friend, but Lena's being the one that's distant. How is that? Hope is almost like a robot. I mean, yes, I understand she's flesh and bone, but she's a robot mentally speaking. She's encompassed by the technology which Lena placed in her last episode. So here we have Lena needs a friend, and she creates her own friend which has no emotion and is mimicking emotion for her, and she's being distant. Why are you so hurt, Lena? Can't we talk this out? Can't we have a conversation? Let's figure this out together. We need to talk about this together. There's no reason for Lena to act in such a atypical particular way. This is an overreaction to not that big an issue, to be very fair. Now, discussing Hope. Hope keeps suggesting Luthor. Is that because she has influences of Eve within her? Does she have some malintent hidden agenda that we're not aware of, that even Lena cannot see, because we're overestimating the control that the Hope mentality and the Hope physiology has in Tessmacher? Or is this really just Lex Luthor has the solution? Because everything in this aspect pointed towards a Lex Luthor appearance. Lex is supposed to be gone, but with Lex, you never know. Lex is never dead. I feel like Lex never dies. Lex and the Joker live forever. They just never die. Even when you think they're dead, they are right back in there somewhere, somehow, some way. So I'm waiting for this to come back up. And it would be great to have a Lex appearance midway through the season, because Lex was our favorite, well, at least was my favorite antagonist thus far. Lex has the depth and captures our attention as an audience. We believe his evil. I don't know if I specifically believe Lena's evil. Right now, to me, Lena's evil seems to be one conversation away from getting fixed. At any point, if Lena just cries and Kara and Lena hug it out, I feel like it won't go through. With Lex, I know it's just evil. It's evil. It's understood. I believe Lex's threats. But with Lena, I've seen her falter. She didn't give Kara away. She tried to justify it by saying it was part of a bigger story. She didn't drop a big news story. She's not letting them on. She has enough creations to basically be a very dangerous foe if she wanted to be. Let's not forget that last season she was able to create some form of superhero out of average people. She was trying to even the playing field. So we see that Lena sometimes with good intentions, and that's the whole concept of the road to hell being paved with good intentions. We see that Lena has often been a person who that definitely applies to. So why is she so bent on this particular route? I don't fully believe Lena as this villainous, horrible creature. I would like to, but I just don't. She still has some good in her, and I'm thinking we will find that good. On the flip side, Malefic seems to have no good in him. This is a bad guy through and through. He's literally the fly on the wall when you're telling secrets. He's literally willing to kill every single person because he feels personally slighted. He is and especially since Supergirl is really big on social commentary, there has to be a connection between Malefic and the concept of a mass shooter. In some ways, the same psychology is going into play. This person who feels that they were left out, they didn't have any friends, they were isolated, and now they want to seek revenge on society at large and one particular person, and they don't care who they hurt to get there. It's such a strong commentary. Sure, it's layered and layered and layered, but it's definitely there. There's definitely a connection. Possibly too little too soon, possibly too much too late. I don't know which one yet. I'm going to let this play out, but there's definitely a connection, especially since this week we got a full backstory with Jon Jonnz using his super friend Nia to help him with his dream sequence in order to help him remember what we realize Jon Jonnz wiped out himself. Now, in Martian culture, we know that wiping a memory is the biggest of all sins. It does not get bigger than that. Jon Jonnz wants to remember. He knows that his memories are lacking. He tried it last week. He's tried it before. He tried it with some Q waves. It was not enough. So we decide to get Nia null and use her dream power in order to go into this world. We see the world through the eyes of Nia, which is why all the characters are human. I suspect that this clearly had to do with budget. It's very difficult to have Martians parading around everywhere. So we get this group of kids. We also find out that Malefic is Jon Jonnes's younger brother. Sure, we insinuated that before, but now we definitively know Malefic is Jon Jonnes's younger brother who was unable to connect to the hive mind. This is what we find out through that dream sequence. Not being able to connect to the hive mind must be crazy for a Martian. That's the whole concept of the Martian, is they are one for all and all for one. It's very Three Musketeers in that mentality and ideology. They all share a collective mind. Malefic was born with a mutation or whatever situation where he's unable to connect to the Martian mind. I wonder if he's the only child on Mars who's ever had this situation, which would make him extremely unique. In order to save him or to basically save everyone else, because he does have this power to hurt people and he uses it. We see that his father, Jon Jonnes's father, Malefic's father, their father places Malefic in isolation. That's now the worst punishment you can have as a Martian. They are a collective species. They are together. It's actually why Jon feels so guilty for fleeing Mars. It's also why he feels so alone. And he was so connected. If you remember in season 2, he found another Martian and he was so connected going into season 3. And of course, we saw her death going into season 4. So we've seen that loneliness is a huge, huge factor for Martians. Malefic feels extremely isolated and alone by his own family. And it's the cause for his ruthless escape, his death, his banishment to the Phantom Zone. It's all because he felt so frustrated and hopeless with his own quote unquote kind that he goes with the white Martians and becomes a huge weapon for them to use and utilize his power in order to inflict his emotions onto those around him and hurt them, and also his power of mind control. That's the most dangerous power. I thought that Jon Jonnz had a similar power, but I know he definitely has the psychic power to read minds. He's able to look through people's minds, but I thought that possibly he had some type of mind control power, but obviously I was mistaken. Malefic has this power, this inception, to control people's minds. Jon Jonnz makes that realization where at first he blames his father for wiping their memories, and he's so mad. If you saw the anger on his face, he was so mad that his father had wiped out their memories. This father, this man of God, this man of Haran Mir, was the one who wiped out their memories. The hypocrisy, he says. And then it turns out that Jon Jonnz did himself. Like, you're the hypocrite, buddy. And you tell Nia to keep it a secret. You don't want anyone to know. You're so ashamed of what you've done, Jon, that you are keeping this a secret from everyone. You're basically wiping your memory again because you know you can't forgive if you can't forget. So it's easier that way. You wiped your father's memories to make him feel better because he was so pained that his son had become a traitor. Well, it was his actions to begin with. Secondly, that's not the best way to deal with stuff. Sweeping things under the carpet or pretending they didn't happen obviously doesn't make them go away. I agree. Jon Jonnz has put everyone in danger. This situation, which is now threatening the Earth of Supergirl, is putting everyone in danger because Jon didn't want to remember something bad. Sorry, Jon. You got to learn to live with your decisions. And so does your father. Your father had to learn to live with this. He decided to place his son in this isolation. Should have known there were going to be consequences. That's not even how Martians are created. And that's definitely not how you fix a problem. You do not fix a problem by ignoring it and pretending it doesn't exist. That's how Ryan does.
First step in solving a problem is identifying there is one.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you
Welcome.
so much.
Anyway, just going to the chat real quick.
Yes.
We got Shy Gabby just saying, she thinks she's upset because Lex knew and that she didn't figure it out. So she basically felt stupid because she's always tried to show her mom and everyone else that she is smart. She's just as smart as Lex. So there's a bit of a sibling rivalry there. She always wanted to be as smart as Lex.
Interesting.
To her mom.
I like that perspective a lot.
Cool.
And we do see that she reaches out to her mom quite often in these times. So we do know that Lena does have a chip on her shoulder, and it has to do with her mom, who's technically Lex Luthor's mom and not her actual mom, but was the mom that she's known her whole life, basically. So she has always wanted to prove herself a Luthor to her. And so I can see how she could feel stupid that she didn't recognize that her best friend without glasses is Supergirl.
Wow.
Yeah. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, I don't know who you are with your glasses off.
Well, Ryan, you'll never know. But you know what? We will all know that all of you at home, we'd love to hear from you. Comment below. You are, if not as much, more so a part of this panel than all of us here. And by all of us, I just mean myself. Ryan's in the booth. So thank you so much for commenting below. I know I always ask a lot of questions. I go through the polls. I comment back. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for commenting. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, give us that 5 stars we so greatly deserve. We appreciate each and every one of you. We will read your comments out loud. We tend to give shout outs. Thank you so much for help making us be the ESPN of TV talk.
Thank you, guys.
You guys are all lifesavers. Speaking of lifesavers, you like that segue, Ryan? Speaking of lifesavers, Kelly is a lifesaver. Here we get Kelly Olsen, Jimmy's sister, who is Alex's girlfriend. She's definitely entrenched in the crew now. She's one of the bunch. She's made her way to the mean girl table. Kelly Olsen, whose life was in danger last week because of Malefic. Malefic picked on Kelly, knowing she works at the Obsidian, knowing that she has Q-Wave knowledge, and she's connected to Jon Jonnz. He basically shapeshifted into Alex, and we remember the threat that she felt then and that scene between Alex and Kelly. Well, in this episode, Kelly, even though she was almost killed yesterday, has decided she's just going to talk to strangers and be super helpful. And this guy, Pete Andrews, comes back in her life. Pete Andrews is suffering from PTSD from Afghanistan. He comes back. He meets her at the job, but guess what? He is Malefic. If I'm Kelly, I am wary of every human being from now on. Everyone is a possible shapeshifter. You just had a run-in with the shapeshifter of shapeshifters who almost killed you yesterday. Why are you just out of the blue trusting people coming back, not asking these questions? If I'm sometimes even when I see Ryan, I ask him questions that only Ryan would know, just to make sure that he's not shapeshift Ryan, but actual Ryan. You have to ask these questions.
I do the same with you every time you come in. I'm like, are you actually here on are you actually here right now? Did you send in your information? Do we have media today? And then when you say yes, I'm like, oh, that's him.
That's how Ryan would know that's not me. If I showed up on time, if I had media and everything turned in on time, you would know that's clearly not me. That is an alien
Right,
entity.
because it would be earlier if it was you.
No, definitely not. Let's be very frank. Ryan.
Hey.
The audience knows me. They know. Okay?
I am.
Yes, they
Tehran.
know. Exactly. I am Tehran through and through. So all I'm saying is, Kelly, why don't you ask these questions? Why don't you give a little quiz? Hey, Pete, I can't believe the last time I saw you was 3 years ago. Yeah, it was. Oh, sorry, buddy. It was actually last year. You wouldn't have forgot that. I get it. You are a shapeshifter. Be smart about these things. Be a little more clever. I understand, Kelly, that you are a helper, that you have this need to fix people and fix their problems, but fix yours first. Your problem is that you're a little too trusting and that you need to stop giving everyone a benefit of the doubt, especially after your experience from last week, because clearly this week it gets you in a lot of trouble. Clearly, we find out that this week it was Malefic, who was disguised as Pete Andrews, came into your office, is utilizing your Q-wave technology to get his power of inception back. And guess what? He got it back. Now he's able to control people, and the first person he was about to control to kill himself was you, because you were too trusting. This is a part of who Kelly is. Now, I understand that that's what makes Alex love Kelly, but the truth of the matter is you have to be more careful. You cannot just do that. And this Q-wave technology is super dangerous. Look at the amount of power that it has. Are we not testing this? Are we not saying, hey, what are the moral implications of the Q-wave? I don't think, of course, Andrea Rojas probably isn't thinking that, but I would assume that there's got to be some type of FDA, or at least her employees have to be on board with, hey, Andrea, I understand we're doing this Q-wave stuff, but you do know that potentially it's extremely harmful or can be used horribly. We need to figure that out.
She needs to get some questions, some go-tos.
Exactly. She definitely needs to have go-to questions when she asks people. And that's why she's sent away at the end of this episode. Now, I know that Jimmy is supposed to be slowly being not written off the show, but he's on a hiatus coming up. And so he goes with his sister, of course, to protect her. So that's an arc. But I do know also that the actress Ozzy Tesfaye has recently become a main cast member, so she's not going to be gone. So why are we writing her off where she's in hiding? I saw in the previews that she'll be back next week. However, if she's supposed to be in hiding, I wonder how that storyline plays out, or why bring it up if she is supposed to be on the show. There's a lot of unanswered questions there, but we are going to get them next week, obviously, and going forward, as we examine it, we do have to question ourselves. Kelly, you talked your way out of being in the crew after working so hard to be in the crew. Going into the conflict, spider tattoos, we get an Aurafacian. Apparently, it's a creature that is a symbiote and takes over a host. This host is a sniper and an armed force SEAL, Navy SEAL killer, and all these things, and extremely attractive. All these things in one. Sure, I get it. Carrie, you're great. We loved seeing her. She goes after Dr. Niles Jared, who is someone who's looking to genetics and to extending life, and obviously someone paid a lot of money to have him killed, and the other doctors too, which is a whole concept. It's a storyline that just was unveiled in this episode, and it's much larger because we did not solve it. We don't know why Dr. Jared was killed and the other doctor had an attempt on his life. We need to figure that out, because the Aurafacian, well, she's got this power. It's almost like evil Spider-Man, and she has the spider power in which the spiders go into the victim's body and basically kills from the inside. It reminded me of that Matrix. I feel like we got a lot of different movie tropes in this episode, because I remember watching the Jon Jonnz fragments and that whole dream sequence, and remembering and getting nods to Star Trek and a whole Vulcan vibe. There was an entire concept in the Vulcan when Spock's dad is showing emotion in Spock. If you remember on Star Trek The Next Generation, it reminded me of that, and a nod to the Star Trek movie, the new ones. So it was very interesting. In this one, I felt like it was that Matrix when the creature goes inside the people's bodies. It had a very Matrixy feel with the spiders. Of course, it had Spider-Man vibes as the Aurafacian was able to throw spider webs and stop Supergirl. Supergirl should be able to break out of spider webs easy. I mean, I understand spider webs are supposed to be super strong, especially when they're created in this way, but Supergirl should have been able to break through the spider webs just by basically moving her arms. She is Supergirl. She's a Kryptonian on Earth. I don't know how they played that. It hit her mouth. I mean, of course, she was able to free herself, but after she used her laser to laser off the spider web and then rip it all off. but that Aurafacian basically gave her almost a run for her money. I'm tired of seeing Supergirl not be as strong as she's supposed to be, or as she's depicted in the comic books, or even as strong as Superman, especially since Superman is often quoted as saying Supergirl's even stronger. So let's see some of that strength. She should have been able to move her hand, and even if the spiderweb was that tough, the entire building should have just shook as the wall was ripped off, and she just was able to rip the wall down with a single swoop. But I really like that fight scenes, the concept of the Aurafacian. They also create new aliens all the time. I'm sure there's an infinite amount of aliens, but be careful of creating too many, especially since we've gotten off the anti-alien sentiment where we were keeping tabs on all the different types of aliens. It also reminds me why people were afraid of aliens, because if aliens are able to just look at you and touch you, and spiders will go inside your heart and kill you, maybe we should probably figure out who does what and what does who and who everybody is. Especially here we get a shapeshifter, now we've got a Aurafacian, all in the same exact episode. It's one of those things where we need to be careful. The Aurafacian's so dangerous. Jimmy comes to the rescue because that's what Jimmy likes to do. We see Jimmy almost rescue Kara outside regarding her job, and now he's rescuing Supergirl as Guardian. Jimmy's attacked by the Aurafacian, and one of the spiders goes into his helmet, and it looks like it's about to go inside him, and it does. Obviously, they had to take him back to the DEO and use some type of contraption to take the spider out. They weren't very clear on how that process worked exactly. It was very cool to see, but it did leave a loose plot storyline. If they're able to do that, why are they so afraid of the spider? I'm sure it's timely. However, it's got to be more to it. I just feel like the stakes should have been higher, or at least it should have been based on Jimmy, life or death. It didn't give us the life and death vibe. They were worried, but they weren't too worried. And I felt like it should have had more, especially since we're so afraid of the Aurafacian up to this point. We see that she's so deadly and worthy of investigation. Even to the point where when Kara is researching and seeing Dr. Niles Jared inside the club, I was wondering why she didn't see William Dey. That could have been a good one to play, because we see Kara's at work and William Dey and the subject of Dr. Niles Jared comes up, and Kara can tell that William is lying. She's all the time finding out there's more to meets the eye about William Dey, but she's always thinking it's negative. Is that something personal or not? I want to know. Comment below. I want to know a prediction now. Do you think William is good? Yes or no? Is William good? Hashtag good day. Hashtag bad day. Day, of course, being spelled D-E-Y for William Dey. Let me know. Because right now, we kept giving William the benefit of the doubt. I personally did, where I'm saying he's an investigative journalist. Maybe he's investigating Andrea. There's more to this guy than meets the eye. He's actually going to end up being a good guy. And then we see him taking a secret payoff from some shade ball who meets him in like at some random location in a park, and gives him, and it wouldn't be as bad if he didn't give him an envelope of money. Envelopes of money are never good. Envelopes of money are always shady. Envelopes of money is always, you're doing something for me that's off the books that you shouldn't be doing. So I don't know if he's helpful anymore. I'm worried about William Dey and my predictions of how he's going to be a good guy. I'm still going to go hashtag good day, but I'm getting less and less so inclined. So we shall see how that plays out. Finally, we get Brainy and Nia. Comic relief. Brainy is amazing. Honestly, the actor Jesse Rath is so good at playing Brainy. The delivery, the emotion without emotion, it's all so good. The awkwardness, it's so strong. And Nia, that coming out of the shower and just looking great, they're sleeping in the same bed. I'm wondering if they're having intimate relations. I mean, let's be very honest. When we saw Brainy at the apartment, man, I couldn't be the only one that's thinking, uh-oh, Brainy's getting some. Like, that's the only thing, because Why else be there night and day? They're clearly sleeping in the same bed. So I wonder how that's playing out. I do know for a fact that Brainy is, of course, in Brainy way. He only knows how to be 100%, so he is going overboard. Nia mentioned that she liked poetry and food, and Brainy has just been cooking up a storm, and every second she's getting a new poem about a new body part. So that's actually a very difficult thing to see, because we were shipping Nia and Brainy so much. I don't know if I'm still shipping them. I don't know if of course, look, no. Let me rephrase that. I do like Brainy and Nia. Okay. I like it for me, because as the audience, I'm watching it and it's funny and it's a train crash. It's the Kardashians. It's every reality show. It's on its way to a fiery, burning crash. However, watching it from Nia's perspective and just seeing that overbearing Brainy, I want to yell, Brainy, calm down. She likes you, bro. Just chill out. I feel like, I don't know who needs to hear that, but so many people do. So Brainy, calm down, chill, bro. You're writing her poems and Brainy, you're way more creative than this, by the way. He had a poem for her left earlobe.
Whoa.
Exactly.
Yeah, hear that.
I see what you did there. So the concept is Brainy needs to chill out. And also, can we use Brainy in superhero situations more? Brainy's extremely powerful. Are we forgetting how powerful Brainy is? Are we forgetting how powerful Nia Nal is? Can we use her in more superhero situations? She has powers. We get Guardian every other second. Let's get some Brainy involvement. Let's get some Nia using their powers. Let's get them fighting together. They are a very strong crew. Something makes me suspect that we will see them as a crew fighting crime soon, because you cannot have this many altercations and this many incidences and not have Brainy or Nia on the scene. Why? Well, that's a waste of powerful beings. You have some extremely powerful beings in this town right now. So let's be very aware of that. Let's get into our special segment, shall we? That's right. Every week we will highlight a Supergirl, a woman that is making a difference in the world. This week's highlight is Oprah Gail Winfrey, born January 29th, 1954. She is obviously better known as Oprah, media executive, actress, talk show host. A lot of people don't know she's an actress. She is an amazing actress. She has been nominated for Oscars. So thank you. I forgot the word Oscars for a second.
Color Purple.
Yeah, the Color Purple is a big deal. I mean, she's in a lot of other movies, but she was a main part of the Color Purple before we know her. She was in Native Son. She's been in Lincoln.
Butler.
She was in The Butler. Selma, Wrinkle in Time. She's a very good and prolific actress who's been in a lot of different shows and movies. Of course, we all know her as the talk show host, Oprah being one of the highest rated TV shows of all time. And she's a television producer. One other thing people don't know about her as much is how big a philanthropist Oprah is. She has been giving as a philanthropist for at least 25 years. She has some amazing, very benefiting organizations that she helps all the time, charities and charity events that raise awareness. She is big in the creation and the advantation of diversity in Hollywood. Oprah does it all. Most importantly, Ryan, not only does Oprah have a very big heart, she has a very big bank account. She's a billionaire. A billionaire. There are only 2,200 and some billionaires in the world, and she's one of them. And as a black woman, that's a very difficult thing. I mean, this is a woman who's been credited with creating a more, the concept of media, the talk show is basically comes from her. She popularized and revolutionized it, that whole tabloid talk show whole idea. And then she basically
broke the glass ceiling.
Well, I was gonna say she's also huge about allowing the concept of LGBTQ community for being in mainstream television. So that was a big thing to enter through her shows and her productions.
Oh yeah, I'm praising Ellen when she came out.
Exactly. And one of the first people to basically stand up to people for Ellen was Oprah Winfrey, even though Ellen's her competition. And she's already been inducted to the National Women's Hall of Fame. So that's who Oprah is. Some people are hailing her as a person who should be the president. She has honorary doctorate degrees from Duke and Harvard. And she also owns OWN.
Shout out to Oprah.
Big shout out to Oprah. One of my favorite things is, of course, she is a huge fan of AfterBuzz. So thank you so much, Oprah Winfrey, for being a Supergirl. News and gossip, people.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Well, guess what, everybody? We got a good look at Pete Andrews, and if you recognize him, it's because he's Sean Astin, the actor. Yes, that's right. We got Sean Astin himself playing Andrews. If you don't know Sean Astin, I don't know what to tell you. This is Mikey from the Goonies and Raphael and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And of course, he played Rudy in the movie Rudy. This might be before a lot of people's times. But you know what wasn't? 50 First Dates. I'm sure everyone saw that. And of course, he is definitely Bob Newby in the second and third seasons of Stranger Things.
Why are we omitting the biggest one?
Which one?
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Samwise Gamgee.
I forgot he was on Lord of the Rings.
Oscar winner.
Oh,
Oscar
gosh.
nominated.
Oh, gosh. That's crazy. You know why I don't say Lord of the Rings?
Why is that, Tehran?
Because when you say Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings people get on you.
Right.
They get on me for comments I've made about Lord of the Rings in the past.
Shout out to Sean Astin.
Shout out to Sean. Because, Ryan, I've just pointed out several times on different shows that Middle Earth had all these different creatures and no black or Hispanic people. That's all I want. Like, so you had no Asians, not a single Asian in Middle Earth. You had flying dinosaurs, talking trees, and not okay. Anyway,
yikes.
However, Sean Astin, I'm a huge, huge fan. The Goonies was like classic. I loved watching that when it replayed on television. That was great. So thank you so much for Sean Astin. We do have a CBR.com article that talks about him as a surprise guest appearance. So make sure to check that out. Predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Let's get into some super predictions, shall we? I feel that this storyline has to continue. I brought this up earlier in this after show, but Q Waves, mind control. Malefic, mind control. Yes.
Sure.
Lena looking for mind control. Lex Luthor has a plan. Something's got to happen there. All three of these have to be connected, and we're going to get one heck of a season finale. If this is a short-term story arc, I don't know how they're going to solve this. This has to go the whole season, where Lena tries to basically control everyone. Supergirl and Lena have a big showdown. I can't wait for that. That is going to be the girl fight of all girl fights. In the meantime, I do think that Nia's dream power is something that's underutilized, especially when we're talking about Malefic. So we're going to use Nia to figure out how Malefic's minds work. And of course, Kelly, even though she's about to go away, we need Kelly because Kelly has this connection with Malefic where she now can see him because of their Q-Wave connection. So we can't tell who Malefic is, but she definitely can. Can't wait to see what happens.
Great prediction.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Until then, I might be drinking some Tefeklia. If you want to find me at I Am Tehran all across the board. That's right, IAMTEHRAN. And of course, hosting a slew of other AfterBuzz after shows because all of your favorite TV shows are my favorite TV shows too. Of course, you can find me each and every week right here as we're talking Supergirl. Ryan, where can people find you?
You can find me at Ryan Nilsson _.
He's half of the Dream Team.
TikTok.
And we will see you next week right here. Up, and away.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.